Hey everyone, welcome back. I am working on upgrading the Intellikey system from the first gen to second gen. I've got the new Intellikey in the back portion of the firewall stiffener there, and there's just like, I don't know, 4 extra wires you have to install so that it can access the comm system. They've got a male-female jumper that basically you pop out the pin off of one and insert it into the female side, and then you replace the one you pulled out into the male side or into the connector. I managed to crimp the wires on 2 of them incorrectly, so basically I had to go back it out, and rather than using the very nice installation process that Midwest put together on it, just manually solder stuff together. So, I mean, I just was getting ahead of myself and had to back that out. Anyway, I'm starting to play with the interior a little bit more now. I'm not really sure what order things go in as far as the interior. It the instructions seem to make it seem like, well, you got to do the floor mats first. But after playing around with it for a while, I decided I was going to put the side panels in. I there's really not a good set of instructions again on this, so it's sort of a figure it out as you go along. What I decided to do was use some 10 millimeter black hex key with a really nice finish on them for the screw to screw in the side panels into the actual skin on the interior sides. Probably a little bit more work than what is necessary, but I really wanted to make sure that I'm working on getting the bracket reattached there. That's why I was hacking away at that. It wasn't. I needed to do a better job with it, and it was going to be easier to do it that way. If you need a close up of it, let me know. I'll take a picture and send it up or something like that. But some of this, it's like instrument panel, then the center console, then the fuel selector part. You kind of have to, at least from my perspective, I have to see it, and putting it together is just part of the process. And but I needed to get these parts in because I wanted to make sure that it had good fit for this, and then the instrument panel cover. Then I also needed to make sure that I had the holes for screwing the side panels on correctly. Just trying to make sure that I do as good a job as possible so it looks nice. This is I know this is all just part of being an experimental builder, but at the end of the day, if I don't get it the way I like it, it's going to bug me, and every time I go flying, it's going to be like, I should have done a better job with that. Part of getting the instrument panel cover installed means getting the heating or the duct work all aligned correctly, and it's just interesting. And again, this is there's no rhyme or reason on how some of this goes together, but what I decided to do was put some Rivnuts in the fuel selector cover there, and that required me taking off the old pieces that I had on the back of this section here so that I get a nice flush mount for the fuel selector. And then what will happen is the screw will pass through that front panel all the way into the fuel selector and bind there, and then it supports it beginning, middle, and end. That's just a quick shot of every one of the Rivnuts that I put in the plane. I have done an epoxy bond with it. I Throughout my entire life, I mean, it's always driven me nuts when you go to unscrew something that has had a Rivnut, and then the Rivnut just sits there and spins and the screw doesn't come out. So by adding the epoxy on there, it helps with preventing the Rivnut from breaking loose, and then the screw from not being able to be pulled out. It doesn't fix it entirely, but it gives you much more, a bigger fighting chance for it to not happen. So that's one of the reasons why everything that I do, it's an extra step. It's a little bit messy, but I feel it's worth the time and energy to go through and do all of that as part of the process. So I'm just carrying that over and getting that put on. Lots of on and off here. I did also paint the mounting brackets just with some black spray paint. And one thing I also found out, even though the instructions call for painting the fiberglass that goes over the front section of the instrument panel, not on the outside of the plane, but in the inside of the plane, and you'll never see it once the cowling's installed. But there's a section of the interior that actually will show through, even in this tiny little bit, on both sides if you don't paint the backside of the skin itself. So like where I'm pulling up right there, the silver or the aluminum part that's showing, there's a tiny little section that will actually appear or kind of peek through. So basically, this is me painting the top section on the fiberglass as per the instructions. I don't think it's really necessary, but I had the spray paint can out and figured, well, I'll just do that real quick. Covered up all the instruments, protect them so nothing's getting done, and then just did a quick hit of spray paint on the inside there where the skin would actually kind of peek through. I'm as of this video, I'm much further along than this, and I can tell you that it makes a world of a difference to have that back part painted so that it's not going to poke through the openings that are available. So anyway, back to the side covers inside there. Basically, just again putting things together, making sure everything fits right, and this is where I'm aligning the side panels here so that I can start actually putting the holes together. I did need to remove a little bit of material from the side skin and the front portion. It just didn't fit real well around the front seat bracket, and it was bumping up against the front of the firewall, so I couldn't take it was a bigger piece of material to take off the front than just putting a little notch in there. I was using the hole guide there to do a quick drill or pass through so that I could get the holes aligned on the side panels there. And then once I got that done, I'd already completed the rib nuts at this stage. I typically try to do the rib nuts with the epoxy, give it 24 hours, and then come back around and finish that part of the process. But honestly, I feel that this looks really good. The screws, they definitely give it a nice finished look when it's complete. I also had a little bit of an overlap between the front portion of the side interior panels and the rear portion. Not a huge deal. I just basically passed the screw through both of them and bound the two sections together. And then this is where I'm going through and actually getting the rest of the holes all aligned. Basically, I get a couple of them set up. It's not going to move after I get those set. And then I go through and just finish all the holes. And you can see, so that's on the left-hand side there is actually the finished product in the end. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Let me know what you think, because I spent a lot of time thinking about it. There's, again, really not a lot of guidance on how this goes together in the instructions. So I don't know, I'm kind of making it up as I go along sometimes. It's not structural, so it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, so I got a new part from they're the builders in Minnesota, or not Minnesota, Michigan. It's a fantastic mechanism. I think I've got something on that coming up here. If I don't, I'll have a separate video here, the next one, probably going over it. So anyway, I thought I'd give you guys a shot on what it takes to get in and under the instrument panel. I've got a couple of 2x4s that run the span from the main spar all the way to the rear portion of the luggage, and then just a thin board. And I lay those two down with the board on top. And it's a little tricky. I mean, I'm 6'2", and a little over 200 pounds, so I'm not a tiny guy, and it is some effort to get in there. But just wanted to give you guys a picture of what that looks like. So if you can run without the control sticks in for a while, it'll make this section a lot easier. Anyway, do like and subscribe thing, and I'll have another video out here hopefully soon. Thanks.